Doug Ford has completely flipped the chessboard over and off the table in regards to the barely there deal in regards to trade with Canada and the United States. Mark Carney barely got anything done on his 2 trips to Washington, first in May back and now in October, and he promised that he would have a mutually beneficial deal for both Canada and the United States by July 21st, and that has not happened. He is now going off to Asia for 9 days to apparently strengthen trade negotiations with other countries besides the United States, which I guess is now a good thing, considering that because of what Doug Ford has done, Donald Trump has terminated all trade negotiations with us. Now, what has Doug Ford done, you might ask? Doug Ford paid for an ad to be created using parts of a speech given by Ronald Reagan back in 1987 at an economics conference. Now, what they did with this speech was they chopped parts of it up and removed sentences that were in between these 2 pieces of audio that provided more context. And they've kind of pasted these separate parts of the speech together to make it sound different than it is. It's clear editing, clear propaganda. And the Ronald Reagan Foundation has come out and said that nobody from the Ontario government reached out to ask if they could utilize the audio or if they could edit the audio in any way. So the Ronald Reagan Foundation is also looking at legal options that they can take with regard to use of this audio. And the problem here is that this would be like a governor of any of the states creating a piece of propaganda using a speech from a former prime minister and then releasing that ad onto Canadian airwaves, particularly at a very highly watched event like what's happening tonight. This ad is going to be released during one of the commercial breaks of the World Series tonight. So this is a huge overstep from Doug Ford because, again, he is the equivalent of a state governor. He is not involved in federal politics. He is not involved in the trade negotiations of the federal government. He has his own stuff to worry about, whether or in regards to the province. And he has chosen to spend $75 million of our taxpayer money when he's already sitting here saying that, you know, Ontarians are suffering. Mark Carney, why are you letting Ontarians suffer? But here, let me spend this crazy amount of money on a 59-second ad targeting a foreign government. And instead of Mark Carney just even taking an extra day to remain behind and maybe fly out to Asia tomorrow, just to take the day and kind of figure out what the hell's going on, talk to Ford, talk to Trump, like do something with regards to leadership to get this fixed. Like, it's bad enough that he couldn't even negotiate a proper deal by the time that he promised in the election. He now can't even control a premier. And I'm not saying that he needs to be a dictator or anything and get the premiers to just kowtow, right? But at the same time, the premier of a province can't just start creating foreign or propaganda aimed at foreign governments, subverting the federal trade deal and trade negotiating tactic. Like, that's not how that works. And when Kathleen Wynne, a Liberal premier of Ontario, was messing around down in California with Jerry Brown, doing dastardly things there with involving the gas plant scandal, she lost her job for that, and there was a general election called. So why is it okay for a conservative to do this, but it's not okay for a liberal to do this? I think both of these are wrong. I think that Doug Ford really needs to understand that he overstepped. And Mark Carney, instead of getting on the phone with him automatically and going, what the hell are you doing? Are you stupid? Are you trying to make this worse? But no, he just jumps on a plane, ignores the press questions, doesn't even address them, doesn't give them a statement, doesn't give them a game plan that they can, give to us. Nope, he just completely ignores them, and he jumps on his plane and off he goes to Asia. And this is a really bad situation. Like, at first, people are just, I'm assuming a lot of people could just be going, it's just Doug Ford being Doug Ford and being it. No, this is really bad. This is overstepping, first of all, the way that things work politically here in Canada. And second of all, it's interfering in another government and what they're trying to do. And who's to say that crazy left-wingers in the States won't take this ad and weaponize it in their own way? There is no good outcome for this, except maybe the opposition parties of Canada can look at this and say, on top of the fact that we do not have confidence in the budgetary spending of this government, the Prime Minister cannot even rein in the premiers of the provinces and get them to think for a second before they act. That is the only silver lining that could possibly come out of this, is that this can be used as proof that Carney is not only a weak leader internationally, but he cannot even lead his premiers. That's the only good outcome we can have out of this. Otherwise, Doug Ford has just taken what tiny progress we had gotten and just completely ruined it for no reason. Like, he is the teenager who is with their parents on like a really important business deal, and then the teenager decides, I'm just gonna like sneak off and drink the client's booze and get completely shit-faced and trash the client's house. Like, what? Why would you do that? Why would you? I understand that the tariffs piss you off, Ford. I get it. when Trump says, we don't need Canadian energy. We don't need Canadian blah, blah. I get it. It's fucking annoying because it's not true. But you are not a federal government employee. It is not your job to get involved in this particular part of politics. Your job is to get Ontario up and running and working properly. And it's Mark Carney's job to rein you in and deal with Trump. And he's not doing either. Like, share, subscribe, and I hope you guys like this. I'll see you in the next one.